The Silverstone Grand Prix this year provided an exhilarating spectacle for fans. Who would have expected to witness Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris chasing podium finishes on Sunday? It was a thrilling sight to see another team joining the fight for the top positions, with Max Verstappen dominating the race. McLaren had an outstanding weekend, but unfortunately, their long-standing midfield rivals, Alpine, had their worst performance of the season so far. Pierre Gasly, in particular, was livid about how his race unfolded and expressed his anger towards his fellow drivers during post-race interviews. Who challenged Gasly to a confrontation? Whom did he confront in the interview area? And does he have a valid reason for his fury? Stay tuned to find out. Before the British Grand Prix, Alpine had high hopes for a turnaround in their performance. After Esteban Ocon's podium finish in Monaco, they only managed to secure 10 points in the following 4 races leading up to the Austrian Grand Prix. McLaren had consistently outperformed them, intensifying their rivalry. Alpine, having surpassed McLaren in 2022, was eager to maintain their momentum. However, things didn't go as planned. McLaren's upgrade package, first implemented in Lando Norris's car in Austria and then in Oscar Trey's car at Silverstone, propelled McLaren to a whole new level. Lando even received a new front wing specifically designed for Silverstone, which Trey did not yet have. While McLaren had struggled throughout the year, it was evident at their home race in Silverstone that they were the team to beat. The roar of the crowd when Norris secured provisional pole position in the final seconds of qualifying was reminiscent of the support Lewis Hamilton used to receive as a former favourite. Only a poorly timed safety car, which dropped Oscar Piastri to 4th on track, prevented McLaren from achieving a double podium. And had the race been a few laps longer, Oscar would have overtaken Hamilton, whose soft tyres were completely worn out in the closing stages. Yet, the story could have easily been about Alpine. Despite their French branding, Alpine is also a British racing team. Although the crowd may have been indifferent to Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon's 2nd and 3rd place in qualifying, Alpine had introduced upgrades for the race. Matt Harmon, the technical director, described the upgrades for Alpine at Silverstone as significant and expressed excitement about the promising results obtained through simulation work. However, as has been the case throughout the season, Alpine's performance did not meet expectations. They have already admitted that they will not achieve their pre-season goal of challenging the top 3 teams, and their upgrades in effectiveness further confirms this, as they qualified 10th and 13th on Saturday and finished 18th and 20th on Sunday. It was an abysmal performance, and Gasly was furious about what transpired on the track. However, his anger was not directed towards his team. It was Lance Stroll and Carlos Sainz who had infuriated him. Gasly was furious with the FIA steward's decision not to penalise Lance Stroll for an overtake that occurred towards the end of the first lap. After the safety car restart in the second half of the race, Stroll launched an attack on Gasly on the outside of the fast-slow right-hander. Gasly left very little room, but Stroll completed the pass for 11th place, with all 4 wheels clearly beyond the white line on the corner's exit. While the Aston Martin driver had his lap time deleted and received a black and white warning flag indicating his track limits offence had been noted, he was allowed to keep the position, prompting Gasly's immediate anger over the team radio. Gasly demanded that Stroll be instructed to return the position, but the message never reached Stroll. Gasly expressed his frustration to the media after the race, stating that if you go off the racetrack while overtaking, you should give the position back. It's as simple as that. Gasly emphasized that he had been taught this racing principle by the FIA and highlighted an incident in the Formula 2 feature race earlier in the day when Alpine junior driver Victor Martins received a 5-second time penalty for going outside the white lines and gaining an advantage during an overtake. Gasly insisted that the rules regarding track limits were clear-cut, and he found the lack of consistency from the stewards infuriating. He bemoaned the fact that going off the racetrack and not returning the position seemed to go unpunished, unlike his own experience of being penalized for similar incidents. His frustration stemmed from the inconsistency displayed by the FIA throughout the season, and Alpine seemed to be the team suffering the consequences the most. Gasly's frustration peaked in his next battle with Stroll, which eventually led to a threat of physical confrontation between the two drivers. A few laps later, as they fought wheel-to-wheel, Stroll drove off the circuit through the final complex, rejoined awkwardly, and collided with Gasly's car, breaking its right rear suspension. Gasly was not concerned about the collision, but he believed that Stroll's 5-second time penalty for the illegal move was too lenient. 5 seconds for causing another driver to retire from the race seemed insufficient to him. This clash marked the end of a frustrating day for Gasly, who had started in 10th place and had been chasing Fernando Alonso with hopes of scoring points. Despite Stroll ruining Gasly's race, the Canadian driver seemed unapologetic. In an interview with Sky Sport, Stroll claimed that Gasly was the one who had forced him off the track on both occasions and denied any wrongdoing. When asked if he had spoken to Gasly about the incident, Stroll jokingly replied, "No, I'll meet him in the parking lot later." While it's assumed that Stroll was joking about a physical altercation with Pierre Gasly in the Silverstone parking lot, his comment came across as incredibly arrogant. It's rare for a Formula One driver to admit their mistakes in battles that could result in penalties. Nonetheless, joking about fighting the other driver after ending their race with an illegal move is in poor taste. Gasly's post-race anger wasn't solely directed at Stroll. Carlos Sainz also faced his ire. Prior to the battle with Stroll, Gasly had an on-track altercation with Carlos Sainz's Ferrari. Gasly felt that Sainz had forced him off the road during their duel, and after Sainz spoke to the Spanish media, Gasly expressed his frustration by pushing Sainz on the shoulder, angrily telling him not to push him like that. Sainz responded in Spanish, saying, "Posito," meaning, "poor baby," in English. Gasly has always been known for his fiery temperament on the track, and at Silverstone, his frustration was understandable. However, perhaps his anger should have been directed at his own team. Alpine must find a way to reverse their disappointing season. Notably, actors Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney recently expanded their involvement in sports by joining an investor group that acquired a 24% stake in the French team. Actor Michael B. Jordan is also part of this venture. Altro Capital, Redbird Capital Partners, and Maximum Effort Investments purchased the ownership stake for a whopping $218 million. This substantial investment will likely contribute to the construction of a new wind tunnel, eliminating the need to transport parts to France for aerodynamic testing. However, it will take time for these investments to yield results. As more money flows into the team, the pressure to succeed becomes increasingly intense. Team principal, Otmar Safnoa, is familiar with the consequences of failure, having experienced it during his time with Aston Martin. Currently, Alpine has fallen behind both Aston Martin and McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, which can only be viewed as a failure. Alpine's struggles may have triggered Gasly's frustration, but these feelings have been brewing throughout the season. His move to Alpine was meant to elevate him to the big leagues, but this year, it has made little difference compared to his previous team, AlphaTauri. Was Gasly justified in his anger towards Stroll's behavior during their on-track battle? And can Alpine turn their season around? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, drive safely and farewell. We are eager to engage in discussions with you. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for future updates, ensuring you stay informed about the exciting 2023 Formula One season.